Today we're talking about Wonder Woman, feminism, and libertarianism again.
This is Chase Carson Show. Recording?
Yeah.
Hey! Welcome back to the Chase Carson Show. Today we're going to talk about Wonder Woman and a sensitive subject I don't think a lot of men like to talk about. It's feminism.
No, I like to talk about feminism.
Okay.
Oh, you do
It's
like
not
to
so bad. Yeah.
I know a lot about the show. I know a lot about these guys.
Yeah, so this is Andrew. Andrew, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for
It's
having
going
me,
to be
Chase.
fun.
Yeah.
It's a real pleasure.
Yeah. It's gonna be
Big
good.
fan of the show.
So that's 28.
He's
28 fans?
20,
Are you
I think it's
subscribed on YouTube?
27.
Yeah. I was like the first person to subscribe.
Sweet. After me.
That's probably really loud
in
in the mic.
That was probably
I'm
really
pretty sure I
loud in the mic.
subscribed before you.
Yeah, you might
Listen,
have.
you can't subscribe.
Carson's
I
the
was
one
waiting.
who's like commenting on it.
I did not. That was
I
Nathan.
think you did.
I didn't. It was Nathan.
Okay.
Okay. But it's good. It's a good
Yeah,
show.
it's getting there.
It's
fun.
It's okay. It's
I
a good
think
show.
that having guests is going to really open it up. I think that people are going to take us more seriously, I guess. Which is important.
Well, I
Or-
mean, maybe if you
or
got
take it a
good
little
guests.
less-
Or be like, who is this guy?
They'll take it less seriously. And
Right.
it'll be more fun.
Yep.
No, you're not wrong.
Okay.
All right.
So,
So did you see the movie?
I did see the movie.
What'd you think of it?
It was good.
Yeah?
It's one of my, I think it's one of my favorite
Really?
superhero movie of like the newer superhero movies because they're going through a transition.
Yeah.
Right.
You're talking about the
There.
DC movies?
Well,
Or
DC
just-
and Marvel in
Yeah,
general,
okay.
like just superhero movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, because like the classic formula with like the guy who, I don't know, he's rich or whatever, he had something terrible happen to him. There's always like the one female character, right, who is the like love interest kind of,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of ties it into his actions in the end or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always like some basic villain.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the same formula.
Mm-hmm.
But with newer movies like the Guardians movie and the Logan movie and stuff like that.
Didn't see that.
You didn't see Logan?
Haven't seen Logan yet.
Ah, that movie, they're saying that movie is like the bridge
Mm-hmm.
to the new superhero genre.
Okay.
Because they're going to have to take it in two different directions, right? Because the superhero movie formula is not working anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're either going to have to take it in a serious drama direction, which Logan did,
Mm-hmm.
or take it in a, like a comedic kind of like, I don't know.
Kind of
Kind of like what Guardians of the Galaxy
yeah.
is doing. Kind of like a retro comedy,
Mm-hmm.
more fun kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Where Logan was just like a super dark, serious drama.
Yeah.
My favorite part about the show, which is actually this article
Mhm.
that I read, which was about... The article was titled, Why I Cried Through the Fight Scenes in Wonder Woman. It was written by a woman named Merida.
Okay.
Mhm.
And when I saw it, I thought, this is going to be really bad.
Yeah.
There's going to be some BuzzFeed,
Mm-hmm.
women
Right.
beings, like, oppressed by men,
Hate those guys.
garbage.
Or
And,
worse.
Mhm. Right. Exactly.
but what she talked about was how interesting her reactions, because right off the bat when she gets off the island and she's, she meets Steve, who is the first man she's ever met. Then she goes to the world of men, right? She goes to England during World War I. What time was that?
1913.
This is the real date,
14,
whatever.
early
This is
15.
when it happened.
Early.
Yeah.
World War II was in like the 40s.
Yeah.
So it's before. Anyway, she gets to the world of men. Right off the bat, she's being told like what to do, what she's not allowed to do. You can't wear this. You can't carry this sword here. You can't come into this meeting. You can't speak to men
Mm-hmm.
like that. And I didn't notice it until I read this article, but she never like gets upset
Mm-hmm.
or argues or complains about any of it.
Mhm.
She just goes with it. And she's obviously not happy with it, but she's not like complaining
Mm-hmm.
unless somebody else like is being oppressed,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
kind of.
Hmm.
Like when it's just about her and her pride,
Yep.
she doesn't need to be reassured by them of her importance,
Right.
right? She doesn't care. She's like,
That's interesting.
that's just me. But when somebody else is being oppressed, or like the perfect example is the first time she like goes out and starts like yelling at people is in the meeting when they say that they're not going to go and stop the gas bombs and save the people. They're like, that's not our, like, this intel isn't good, whatever, like, we're not going to risk it, blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, okay, you're not, now there's people's lives in danger. Like, my pride is fine. Like, but when other people's pride or lives are in danger, like, that's when she goes out.
Right.
Same thing with the Death Valley, when they're in the ditches and they're walking along, and she's like, the town is across the way,
right,
and nobody's moved in like a year or whatever, and they're gonna bomb it, and she's like, we need to go and save those people now,
right,
and he says, and Steve's like, no, we can't, we got to stick to the mission, and she's just like, this is what I'm doing,
right,
like, I don't need permission to go and do this.
Yeah, that was also probably one of the coolest action scenes.
It was
a movie.
Pretty awesome.
It was good. Yeah.
My negative thing about the movie was all of the like money shots. The slowed down, like her hair. Many. I was like, I get it. Gal Gadot is amazing.
Right.
Very attractive.
Yeah. It's like,
too many money shots.
Slow
like,
motion.
Maybe 2 at the most.
Yeah,
it's like, but they did like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. And it takes one action scene and makes that as long as 3 action scenes.
Right.
Yep.
It's like, I don't need to see
Which, if you're going to make any kind of scene long, I guess it's an action scene, but still.
I just don't need to see her, like, stand up slow with an explosion in the background.
Yeah.
That was the real cliche stuff that was the same, like, old superhero.
When she climbed up the ladder, it's like, oh, there's her hand.
She's like,
oh, there's her foot. Oh, there's her other hand.
This thing was cool, the Matrix, like, reflect bullets.
Yeah, that was cool.
But then, like, she walks a bit, and there's like an explosion behind her for no reason. At the very end, where she jumps off the building and is like flying through the air. From a filming aspect, they did this weird thing where they would have a backlight for her with either an explosion or there was nothing, and they would just have a backlight anyway,
right?
So that her hair would shine.
Yep.
But then they'd also have a really bright light at her face, so her skin looked almost like toned, like brighter. It was weird. It was a weird, like, cross lighting that just did not look good, and it bothered me every single time.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Aside from that, it was a great movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't like her lasso. I didn't like how fake it looked.
The lasso bothered me a little bit.
It was.
It looked kind of weird.
And I don't know how else they could have done it, but I thought it felt kind of just too fake and too artificial. But
I picked up on that a little bit too.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. Yep. Good movie.
So I think that what I've been seeing when it comes to people's reactions to the movie is what you expected from Wonder Woman is people just to be freaking out how great it is that a woman's a superhero. But what I've been seeing is they're unhappy with the fact that it's not really a very feminist movie. It doesn't necessarily carry narratives like that. You know what I mean? Kind of like what you were just saying. When she enters the different culture that's totally different, they make a point in the film to pull out a bunch of different points where, oh yeah, this is the way it used to be. But then she never, like you said, she hardly ever reacts to them.
She doesn't care.
Exactly.
Her own self-worth wasn't being judged by everybody else.
Right, exactly.
Which is something I'm glad they didn't talk about. Like, I'm glad that she didn't verbally say that, like, oh, what did I just say? Like, she's like, I'm glad she didn't have a line, like a speech, that was like, my self-worth isn't measured by the justifications of man or whatever, something like that. Because then it would have been really cheesy.
Exactly.
And no one would have taken it seriously.
Right.
But the fact that she didn't say it works. Even, it said it louder than words. Right?
Yeah.
The thing I'm worried is that it's people aren't going to pick up on that. Like, people who could learn a lesson from that. Everybody.
Wait, what?
Are gonna miss out on that. Aren't gonna see it.
Yep.
So. So, back to Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
This fun fact, pretty big deal, big news. Wonder Woman is now the biggest live-action film directed by a woman in the Hollywood and worldwide.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, the last movie was let's see, this movie, which was estimated to make $25 million at the U.S. box office, ended up making $652 million worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
with $318 million domestically since its release in June 2nd.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
The previous record holder was the ABBA-inspired musical, the Mamma Mia movie.
Mm-hmm.
Remember hearing about that?
Mm-hmm.
Had James Bond in it. Pierce Brosnan. That
Okay.
guy. He was in it.
Okay.
That's why I watched it. But that one made $609 million worldwide.
Wow.
So it beat it just by like 50.
Wow.
Just 50
Just by
million.
50 million.
Real small number.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, that was. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
That is cool.
No, that's very cool. So what else we got? What else we got about this?
We didn't really talk about feminism very much, did we?
Not really. Just
No.
just mostly just about how the movie itself doesn't have any feminist narratives. You know what I mean?
It's true. They didn't harsh too. They
Exactly.
didn't like harp
They didn't
too much
make
on
it
that,
crazy.
which made it nice.
Yeah, exactly.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was.
Do you think it would
It's
have
not
made?
like it's, and I mean, I wouldn't. It's not like I'm like, oh, I can't stand feminist. Like, and I'm so glad they didn't talk about it in the movie. Like, I felt like it was a suggested tone that they didn't have to talk about.
Right.
Like, you just got the feeling
Yeah.
of it already.
Uh-huh.
The writers, which was a funny story I read about, was that the writers for that show, because it was directed by a woman, but the writing department was mostly guys.
Okay.
And they said one of the most difficult things was for them to not write Steve Trevor as the hero to her story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for some reason, naturally, they just wrote it that way.
Right.
And they were like, no, recorrect. Like, let's make a U-turn. Like,
Right.
he's not the hero.
That's because that's how people have been telling stories for hundreds
Right,
of years.
Exactly. And so, I think what they are doing, what they did with the movie was really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really good. And it was, like, it hinders to both audiences, right? Male and female. Because forever, like a majority of films in Hollywood are made for men.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the film genre for women is called chick flicks,
Right.
but there isn't like a guy flicks or like a guy movie. They don't put men. They
Right.
just say movies.
They're
just
everything else.
They're just movies.
Right.
And then
No,
there's
exactly.
it's like a special category for women, which has
Mhm.
been a huge issue. Like, that's a huge conflict that they've always complained about. You know?
Yeah, but that's because they don't understand how market forces work.
Right. But I mean,
So the reason that
it's still
an
upsets
industry
people.
puts out products is because people want to consume them.
It's a targeted audience, right?
Right.
And the other thing is that women are more. This is a statistic fact, by the way. Don't
Right.
don't think that I'm just like
Oh
not
my
sexist, but it's a statistic fact that women are more likely to go and see a guy film,
Mm-hmm.
like an action or a war movie, than a guy is
in?
to go see a chick flick or a romantic comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just statistics.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
It's which is why I like this movie, because it kind of like, it's, from what I've read anyway, a lot of women really like this movie. It's because it's empowering the women, the main character's a woman, but also just because they really enjoyed it. That article about the girl who cried during the fight scenes,
Mm-hmm.
she talks about how she assumed that when she went to go see the movie, she would cry during the build up of her character, maybe like a loss or something, or in the end where Steve Trevor goes and kills himself
Right,
to save all the
exactly.
people. Like, those weren't the times that she cried. It was the times where the women, like when she would walk out on the field,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or when she was jumping around in that town fighting people, just like really basic fighting stuff, got all these women really emotional. There was like 7 different comments and stuff about, they were like, I just went and saw it 3 times and I cried when the Amazons charged the beach. to fight the Germans,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was interesting. And I forget what their reason for it was,
Mm-hmm.
but it was almost like a tear. They explained it as like a tears of joy almost,
Uh-huh.
just because it was like they're not, because they like their assumption of what they were going to do with the movie
Yeah.
was so much different than what they actually did. It
Yeah.
was like I said, like it didn't hark on the feminist sexist tones, and she was just so like passive about it all
Mm-hmm.
that it was just such a like refreshing feeling.
Yeah.
It's kind of confusing.
No,
I don't
I
understand.
think it
No,
makes sense.
I think I'm tracking.
Okay,
I think I'm tracking.
this is a tricky subject because
Well, yeah.
men will never understand women,
No.
so we can try our best.
Right, exactly.
But
Well, I feel like one thing to try to understand is like when they try to make a movie that empowers women,
mhm.
they try to make a movie where the woman is the main character and is the kick butt awesome, action hero,
Right.
right? So my question is, like statistically, that's something that men tend to do more, right? Men are the people who are in the military and that type of thing. Men are the people who are more naturally susceptible to conflict,
Mm-hmm.
right? So why is it empowering to women to make a woman like that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think it has something to do with the fact that women are more. I mean, let's look at this. Let's just basic fact: women are more emotional than men, right?
Right.
And a lot of superhero movies or guy action films in general is usually a guy who it gets something terrible happens and he like does like a revenge kind of story,
Exactly.
and he like learns to like control his anger or whatever through the whole thing, and so he doesn't kill the person, but he like
What was that
ultimately-
movie? The one where
It's a lot of
Wick.
movies.
John Wick movie. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
That's so good.
amazing. Let's not talk about John Wick.
We're
Yeah,
very talking about
But women are more affected by that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is that they are affected. That kind of stuff is more real for them than it is for men.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, for something terrible to happen, it's like the mother has to like the woman or whatever has to be like a mother, and she loses her kids,
Mm-hmm.
or her husband dies or something.
It's kind of back to the
Or
damsel
like
in
she
distress.
gets raped. It's like the
kind
damsel
of
in distress thing. It's always,
it's
but it
back to
didn't
that,
do that
yeah.
at all. It started her right
exactly.
off as like a warrior, a princess of this warrior nation or whatever. They're all like really strong defenders of the world kind of thing.
Right.
And she doesn't really have anything like that happen to her.
Right.
And they just kind of like, meh, no, she's just a naturally like she is
Mhm.
just a hero.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It was good. It was
Yeah.
just a refreshing. It was
Right.
very refreshing.
Okay, so but none of that is to imply that your classic damsel in distress action hero comes to save the day is inherently bad though,
no,
Right,
not at
right,
all.
right.
right? Because what you don't want to see happen is you don't want to see a society turn into a direction where men aren't required to stand up and protect people.
Right.
Where
Then
men
you
aren't
create a world
required
full of
to-
weak men
Exactly.
who are like, man, I don't need to stand up for them. They stand up for themselves.
Right. Exactly.
Which is good. Like everyone should be able to stand up for themselves.
Yes.
I think women have as much right. as
Everyone
men.
should be able to,
Right.
but not everyone should need to in every situation.
Right.
Right.
It's all about who has the. Not who has the power, so to speak. It's a cliche thing, but it's the Spider-Man thing. With great power comes great responsibility.
Uh-huh.
If a guy is stronger than his girlfriend,
Men are statistically more
men
physically
are
strong.
physically stronger.
Yeah.
And a woman is being harassed,
Right.
say she's being raped or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the guy's obligation to go and protect her.
Exactly.
It's not like, and you get the women who are like really anti-men, who are like, I don't need men
Yeah.
to protect me. It's not like we're trying to get anything out of it,
Mm-hmm.
really. It's a natural instinct to want to protect.
Mm-hmm.
That is like males in
Mhm.
general. That's why we have families. Like we have families so that we have someone to protect.
Right, in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The problem now is the millennial culture that we're living in right now is that it's creating a lot of like twisted minds, so
Mhm.
to speak. It's reversing those roles
Right.
where the women want to be in that protecting role because
Exactly.
they feel oppressed that they have to be protected all the time.
Yep.
And what happens is men who are attracted to women, will find a woman who they're attracted to, who has that ideology, and they will fit their role to fit theirs.
Okay.
And they will become that weak-willed man who won't stand up and protect people. Right?
Yeah.
To fit with that woman, because that's what guys do.
Sure. Yeah.
They just adjust their character. If they really like this girl or whatever, they'll fit their character to fit theirs, usually.
More so than the other way around, basically, is what you're saying, yeah.
So the millennial culture we're living in right now is just it's being very oddly molded in a way.
Right. But either way, however that happens, you have an inverse opposite reaction, right? So you have women being glorified and asked to become more like what is traditionally something that you see men do as action heroes or whatever, and then you see men being feminized, basically, you know, being encouraged to be more feminine.
Right.
So when they talk about toxic masculinity and stuff like that, right? It's basically, yeah.
Like I remember, like 10 years ago, it was like not okay for guys to like be emotional.
Right.
And now it's like full 1080. Like
no, exactly.
It's just kind of weird. It's what it is, and we gotta adjust, so to speak.
Well,
not completely, but it's like it's a certain level of being like not changing your own ideology, but like it's learning to work with people. Kind of.
Yeah.
You can't let the people who have those different ideologies from your own affect. You can't let them affect you in the same way that you don't change yourself, but you also don't like go out of your way to make a big deal out of their changes, so to speak. I don't know what a good like analogy is for that, but
I hear you though. I think I'm tracking.
It's like if you go out of your way to like the whole protesting in the streets thing. It's like if you go out there like half of your week or whatever in the evenings doing that kind of stuff, you're letting the thing that you're fighting take over a portion of your life. And if ever and those people don't care. Like the people who protest all this stuff need to realize that nobody really cares.
Right.
And whatever anybody says, it's not going to make a difference. So
well,
let's be real.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Like, this is what it is. I don't know.
Right, but it's just a matter of knowing what you know to be true.
Right.
And then holding that up to what you see in the culture and saying, is this true or is it not? And it doesn't. Truth isn't dictated about what is generally accepted in the culture. Right. So you make your decisions and your life choices based off what you know to be true and not what is popular and not what you see going on in the culture.
Right. Don't let the world affect what you believe.
Exactly.
Just believe what you believe and let other people believe what they want to believe. Because that's the essence of America in a sense. It's freedom of speech, religion, whatever. Just everybody does whatever they want.
I mean, yeah, basically. Well, now you're talking about libertarianism.
Right. We're slipping into another
completely different thing. But you're kind of talking about what you were saying and what I was saying about absolute truth and what you were saying about America and letting people, live their life and stuff like that. Too many people have a misconception that libertarianism means moral relativism. And it means letting everyone live their life and doing whatever they want and what's right for you is right for you, man. Right. Not for me. That's not what it's about. It's all about your problems aren't mine. Okay? Your responsibilities aren't my responsibilities. When you get in trouble, don't ask me to pull my wallet out. Right? When it's your family to take care of, don't tell me to do it. It's all about personal responsibility. It's not about your truth being your truth and all that mumbo jumbo nonsense. Right?
Right. But there's a line, right, between those two.
Yes.
Ideologies. I've used the word ideologies a lot.
It's a good word.
It's not to say that I need. It's to say basically I'm not responsible for your mistakes. But it also means that doesn't mean that if you come and ask me to help, I won't help. I will. That's the idea.
Because it's voluntary. There's a difference.
It's not forced.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
And it's not a segregation kind of thing, because then you start breaking into a class.
And government is
Like
force.
hard class
That's
systems.
the essential.
Right.
Government is force. Government doesn't do things without forcing you to do it, right?
Right, exactly.
So
it needs to be a government for the people.
Exactly.
Not people
That's
for the
why
government.
in a libertarian system, you would have people helping people out because they want to, and not because helping people out because the government's making them do it.
Right.
Right?
They're not drafts.
Thing. Exactly. Exactly.
It's volunteer.
Right.
Awesome. It's good talk, guys.
That was good. Thanks for coming.
That's why
we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of
We'll
fun.
do it again sometime.
Good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks
right.
for watching.
See you guys later. If you like our content, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. I literally just did that.
Woo!
I said though.
Stop. Listen, it is so easy. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
That's what I did.
Watch our other videos.
That's what I did.
That was horrible. Do better.